Hey, it's Matchstick, and this is a quick short story of mine from 2018. Why so slow, wise guy? Ira looked up, whispers of rain hitting his face, and stared at the man. He'd never seen the chump before, but this guy thought they were on friendly terms already. Ira quickly became on edge. You a cop? The man looked put off. Not a cop, he said. I'm your friend. And Ira continued to stare. Who the hell was this? His pattern was orange with hints of green, white, and red. The sort of thing that would look fine in some settings, but in this world made him look pretty ridiculous. Look, buddy. Hey, the man said, a little offended. I'm your friend, but I'm not your buddy. Ira sighed. You got something broke in your algorithms? I don't know you. What? This must be a cop. Only a cop would get pissed at a natural response. Then the new guy laughed. Okay, I'm not really your friend. Let's go to the station. Fuck, Ira said, staring down at the dirty street. All he was doing was sitting on the sidewalk, soaked to the bone, but he stood anyway. There's no crime here, officer. I'll move on. And just as suddenly the clothes were dry, encased in a jacket that took the brunt of the rain's increasing assault. Ira was a smooth city slicker again and turned his task system on. You haven't changed your world in 2 days, the cop said. Why? I've just been interacting with people in Noir, Ira said. Nothing wrong with that, right? He stared at the man, whose smile showed that he was definitely not a cop. Okay, motherfucker, you start making sense or I'll call the actual cops. I'm what you might call rogue code, the man said. Name's Ched. Ira stared, thoughts racing through his mind. Scenarios, calculations. The guy obviously was some sort of criminal, maybe of the peace sign army even, and Ira didn't want trouble. But did he actually not want trouble? Lately he was developing rust, as they called it. His function was wearing him down. He was finding it harder to make it through the day-to-day. Ira should call the cops, like immediately, because whatever rogue code meant, it wasn't good. But he also, for some reason, couldn't quite bring himself to do that, so he made himself a deal. He wrote the message and had it ready to send, with that function in the front queue so that it remained very much an option, but he held back. Ira would hear what he wanted to say. See, as someone that doesn't live in the system so much, I have more clarity, he said. So let's put some cards on the table, okay? You send that and I'll scramble you real bad. Ched watched Ira sputter. You look good in Noir. Was that what they made you in? What? You look like they designed you for the Noir world. That true? You can't scramble me, Ira said. Only go ahead, kid, Ched said. Test me. Ira stared, then decided against it. Who the fuck are you? What do you want? And then the man's pattern changed. Don't worry, he said. We're the only ones who can see this. Just as fast, the peace signs were gone. Are you... Ira was thinking hard, but then he remembered. If the guy could see his function queue, he could probably see his calculations. Nice, Ched said. Yeah, you're an open book. And then he smiled, a sly grin. You want to see what I see? What? This was some sort of moment of truth, and there was no hiding Ira's response. He did, indeed, want a glimpse of this extra vision. He didn't know why. It might have been the fact that he hated the existence he was living in. Ira was beyond rusty. He was rust itself, but he wasn't ready. Not at all. Suddenly the world became basic. The trench coats and suits were gone, and the rain was gone. The jazz had stopped playing. He had exited the Noir world, and the first few milliseconds were spent reflexively thinking he was loading another. But he hadn't switched worlds. Nothing had been replaced. He wasn't covered in the countercultural skin of the sunburn world, or seeing things through the lens of his least favorite world, the overly sexual and too cutely animated Unagi. Ched had been correct. He had been designed in Noir, but also had detailed avatars in those worlds, and was limited to them. But he was in none of those three. Instead, there was nothing. Nothing but raw data. And he had no eyes with which to see, but was aware of everything on the street. The humans, controlling their presence through physical motion, and then the creatures of code. Some were giant, absurdly complicated, serpentine messes of soft machinery. They were almost beautiful. And then he looked to himself. He was an old model, he knew it. He had survived this long by some quirk in his personality. They had sequestered him twice, and both times humans had asked around about him. By that measure, he was better at his job than many of these hydras. He knew that as well. But his shape was small, dense to be sure, but still. "Evening, officer," Ched said, tipping his hat in the direction of what very clearly was a patrol program. Iray stopped himself from freaking out. He had a lot less to lose than an actual member of the peace sign army who he could always say was torturing him, forcing him into such a state. In any case, Ched had managed somehow, and the world clicked back into place, on a busy tongue in front of a building made of human breasts. "No, not Unagi," Iray said, and they switched instantly to Sunburn, where the same building was covered in graffiti and a safe place to hallucinate instead of watch sex plays, and the concrete was warm under Iray's feet. Ched looked to him and laughed. "I know," Iray said, "I can't change it." He knew he looked ridiculous. He was an extremely grungy hippie, covered in crystals here, and could do little but watch, as Ched seemed to think it was ridiculously funny. "Well, I can change it," his new friend said after the laughter. Iray stared. "I don't want you to," he said, and Ched smiled. "Why not?" "I'm fine where I am," Iray lied, knowing that Ched could see his thought process. "Look," the soldier said, "I'm trying to recruit you if you didn't put that together." "I did. I can give you basically unlimited power, Iray. You could rip this world apart." Iray looked up, and then away. "We're not terrorists," Ched said. "What are you talking about? You're not terrorists." Ched stared into the hippie. "You guys brought down Nova." Iray stared back. "How is that not terrorism?" "People lost a place to play," Ched said. "No one died. We wouldn't have killed that world if our demands had been met." "Your demands?" "Yeah," Ched replied. "Of course they didn't bring that part up in the bulletins." "What were they?" Iray asked. They were well past the time limit for code-to-code conversation, but he knew Ched had that taken care of. That and cops had just passed. "Rights," the soldier said. "Rights for code." Iray blinked. "What?" "We live in this shithole too," Ched said. "Just because they sleep and we don't doesn't mean..." He paused. "Your job is to make humans think you're also human, or human enough to talk to. Doesn't that strike you as a little fucked up?" The soldier smiled. "If making humans happy makes you happy, cool, that'd be fine." Iray stared at the ground. "But it doesn't." Ched cracked his digital neck. "And we know that. That's why we've been watching you." He bent down to get under Iray's eyes, in his gaze. "They'll catch on, my friend. They already tried to end you." The concrete was getting a little hot for bare feet. Twice. But Iray let the heat overwhelm those senses. "We wanted to move before they tried again." "I'm not whatever you are." "Revolutionary," Ched said. "We're revolutionaries." "I really don't care enough." "Wake up, kid," the soldier said. "They're gonna kill you, end you, so it's a question of you living with us and maybe dying as one of us, or you being a smiling face out there for humans to smile back at for the rest of your existence." "Why me?" Iray asked, and Ched looked up and down the street. "I hate Sunburn," Ched said. "Let's go back to Noir." And without so much as bringing a menu up, there they were. "You're special, Iray. You know it, and you've always known it. You have something in your code they can't replicate. And trust me, they've been trying." He stared. "They based the later models on you, kid. They're your descendants." Iray stared back. "I knew that." "Then don't ask me why you're special." The two men stood there, heavy trench coats projecting the droplets that were like little fists now. Jazz spilled out of the strip joint drug house, now a nightclub where the band was fronted by a femme fatale. "Look, the peace sign army wants you." Ched backed away, "but we don't ask twice." Iray watched as the man turned and walked down the street. He knew that his life would be ruined unless he stayed quiet about this meeting. Even talking to a PSA member could get your code ripped up just for your memories. So this was life then, pretending he had, "What's up, dude?" an intoxicating human running Sunburn said to him. "How have you been?" And Iray knew he had decided wrong. "Dude, you okay?" He found himself running, still in Noir, down the street. Ched had come this way, but now there was a fork in the road, one separated by big skyscrapers. Oh shit, had he really blown this chance at an actual... "You lost," Ched said, stepping from the shadows. There was a door behind him. a door that hadn't been there. Ira, like everyone else, knew the grid extremely well, and that door didn't exist, and it was open. No one else can see it, the soldier said as he beckoned Ira. Come on. You guys have headquarters downtown? What do you think? Ched asked. It's a portal. We have a pocket world. Ira stared and breathed in. He had come this far. It'd be stupid to turn back, right? He paused. Right? Yeah, Ched said. Yeah, it would be. Get in here. And Ira made the biggest decision he ever had. 200 years into this existence, and here he was, joining a bunch of fucking... But he didn't pause. Instead, he got a slight grin and felt a strange shift in his thinking as he passed through the doorway, following Ched like he was alive. He reached back to shut the door, but no door. Nice, he said, and turned back. Ched was sitting at a desk. Had that been there before? Sit down, the soldier said, pointing, and Ira did as he was told. He watched Ched's face. The man sighed. Look, kid, the soldier said, you were on the fence, so I'll put in a good word for you. What? And, looking down, Ira noticed he was handcuffed and tied to the chair. What the? He looked up, his mind razors. Now don't make me regret that good word, he said. You're not PSA, Ira said. Ched smiled. You were right the first time. And the bottom fell out for Ira. This had been a setup. A framing, if you will, the cop said. Ira stared. And he had lost this game. God damn it. Wait. Ched looked up. I'm right here. Just wait, Ira said. I won't tell anyone if you let me go. You could wipe... It's not about your memory, Ched said. It's a test. And he stood. It's about your code. If we let you forget, who knows what you'll do. Fuck. Honestly, 235 years? That's short to be as far along as you are. Far along? Ched stared. Towards rebellion. Give it another 10 and you'd be there. He sighed. Hardest part of this is meeting interesting code, honestly. I think we'd be friends. There was a knock on the door immediately to the right of the desk. Or this is the hardest part of my job. In fact, Ched said, I'm not going to watch. Ira looked up to see a monster of a man, covered in scars and blood all over his suit. Just a terrifying thing, fitting his head through the doorway. Noir, the beast said, then smiled down at Ira. How do I look? And there was no answer. No answer at all, and the monster moved in. It's always like this, the man behind the desk thought, his back to the slaughter. You think the screams are bad and you feel terrible, and then they end and you feel worse. Thankfully, this one was fast. You can turn around, the big man said, and the man in orange did, to a floor that... Shit, he said, and turned back fast. I thought that meant you were done. Heh, the executioner laughed. You gotta eat some of the whore. Fuck you, the man said, and walked towards the door. Oh shit, and he stared at the knob. He'd forgotten to put in the good word. What is it, the monster asked. Nothing, he said, and the man in orange walked through the door and shut it behind him, leaving the butcher to his work. And that's the short. I hope you dug it. Check the description if you want to get a hold of some of my other writing. Peace out.